Sweden wants to sell its deadly JAS Gripen fighter jets to Ukraine, but only after the war. For now, the deal is frozen, even as Ukrainian pilots are already trained and waiting. With F-16s and Mirages entering the battlefield, the question is no longer about technology. It's about politics, timing, and money. Could Gripen become Ukraine's future air power, or will this jet remain grounded in Swedish hangars?
Sweden's position is clear. It wants to supply its most advanced fighter jet, the JAS Gripen, to Ukraine, but only once the war is over. For now, the situation remains unchanged. The skies over Ukraine are still dominated by other aircraft, while Sweden holds back. In simple terms, no new Swedish fighters will be joining the fight just yet. But this raises the bigger question. If not now, then why later? And why is Sweden keeping its cards so close to the chest at this critical moment?
Sweden's leadership isn't closing the door completely. Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson has admitted, "We have put the discussion on hold, but it is not written off." Meanwhile, Ukraine's Deputy Defense Minister Ivan Havrilyuk has fueled new speculation. In an interview with the BBC, he suggested Ukraine is preparing to receive more fighter jets, not only additional American F-16s, but also the French Mirage, and yes, possibly even Sweden's Gripen. And here's the twist. If the Gripen becomes part of the deal, Ukraine won't be starting from scratch. According to Kristersson himself, Ukrainian pilots are already trained to fly the aircraft. This week, Kristersson heads to Copenhagen for two major summits, where one of his scheduled meetings is with President Volodymyr Zelensky. What's said behind those closed doors could very well shape the future of Ukraine's air defense.
For now, though, the Gripen remains grounded when it comes to Ukraine's war effort. Prime Minister Kristersson made it clear, no Gripen deliveries will be made in the near future.
Instead, Sweden is standing by the so-called F-16 coalition. Under this agreement, Denmark and the Netherlands have already transferred fighter jets to Ukraine, while Sweden contributes with radar reconnaissance aircraft.
Kristersson defends this cautious approach. It was absolutely the right decision not to introduce several Air Force systems to Ukraine at the same time. And when pressed on whether any new talks are underway to fast-track Gripen deliveries, his answer was blunt. There are no new talks. We have put the discussion on hold, but it is not written off.
In other words, Sweden is keeping the door slightly open. But for now, Ukraine will have to fight on without the Gripen. But Prime Minister Kristersson also draws a clear line. The debate today is not the same as the debate after the war. In his words, it is a completely different question what kind of air defense Ukraine will have when the war is over. That's when Ukraine has expressed interest in a more traditional acquisition, a long-term purchase of a large fleet of jets. And here, Sweden is eager to step in. Kristersson admits, "We are very interested in that." Yet one obstacle looms large: money. The biggest stumbling block isn't about pilots, training, or technology. It's about who pays for the aircraft. In other words, Sweden may be ready to sell Gripens, Ukraine may be ready to buy them. But unless the financing is secured, the deal could remain just an ambition on paper.
In the end, Sweden's Gripen deal with Ukraine may not be a question of if, but when, and at what cost. The war may pause the decision today, but tomorrow's skies could tell a very different story. What do you think? Will Sweden step up and make the Gripen Ukraine's next-generation fighter, or will politics and money hold it back? This is Viperyjet Wings, bringing you the latest in defense, air power, and global security. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a flight into the future of military aviation.